Hi, welcome to Fire Mountain Gems and Beads. Today, it's Amethyst month. Oh my gosh, aren't these pretty? These are a faceted amethyst in a beautiful dark purple. Of course, it comes in lots of different colors, but this is particularly glorious. And because it is particularly glorious, I am going to use gold-filled beads rather than my normal gold plate. So it's a little more pricey, but it's also a little more heirloom. I'm going to string this on accuflex beading wire. So I've got my accuflex, I've got some gold-filled chain, I've got the amethyst, and these little beads, these are crimp beads, gold-filled crimp beads. They work great, just like liquid gold. So I'm going to work right off my spool, so I'll pull out a little bit, and I'll start stringing. This is a great project for somebody who's never made jewelry before. You'll make a beautiful thing, and it's so easy. So I'll start off with 3 crimp beads. 1, 2, 3, and an amethyst. This is just real basic, super simple stringing. 3 crimp beads and an amethyst. 1, 2, 3, and an amethyst. And I'm going to go along that whole length until it is as long as I want it to be. And then I'll show you how to finish it because it is super easy. Hope you can hang out and see how this finishes. So here we are. I've strung on a bunch of beads and I hope you kept up because I was fast. All right, here we go. Let's put on just a few more beads to finish up this necklace. Again with the little gold crimp beads. Amethyst comes in all sorts of shades, and a lot of it is personal taste. There are very, very pale amethysts that hardly have any color at all, and citrine is a yellow one that's very, very closely related to amethyst. These are very dark purple, and especially because their size, that makes them appear even darker. But out in the bright sunlight or anywhere, that hint of purple, I love this color. And one more bead, and that should be long enough for our necklace. And now we're going to put on the final crimp bead. Now these are crimp beads, and they are intended to be squished to hold all your pieces together. So if I'm going to use one of the exact same crimp beads I was using earlier, just using them as beads, but now I'm going to use it as it was designed, which is a crimp bead, which means I'm going to crush this bead to hold my wire in place. After the crimp bead, I'm going to put on an AccuGuard. This is a little horseshoe-shaped type little device that protects your wire and gives you a really nice professional finish. So I go through one end of that. I will go through one end. If one end doesn't work for you, go to the other end. Or get better glasses. There we go. Go through the horseshoe. Go back through that AccuGuard. There we go. And through the crimp bead. Come on. And there we have the crimp bead. The AccuFlex is going through the crimp bead, around that little horseshoe, and back through the crimp bead. I'm going to make that all nice and tight and tidy. And use my crimping pliers. These have several notches in them. One of them will make this crimp, crush this crimp into sort of a smile shape, and the one on the end will then turn it into a round. So I'm going to use this one in the middle, that notch in the middle, to make sort of a smile shape. So you can see which notch I'm in. I'm going to give that a squeeze. There we go. And that crimp bead has been crushed into a little smiley shape. Kind of hard to see. But you can see it's secure. It's not going to come loose now. But to make a more professional look, now I'm going to use the notch on the tip of my pliers to fold that in half and make it more of a rounded shape. That's going to also make it easier for me to put it inside of a crimp bead. Now, that looks fine. It's not bad, but for an even more professional look, you'll use a crimp cover. This goes over the top of that little crimp. And with some careful manipulation, I will close it. Let me make sure I'm settled in there right. There we go. So I've got that all settled inside there. With some careful manipulation, I'm using bent chain nose pliers. I'm going to gently close that. I'm watching all the time, make sure it closes evenly. You can see it's kind of wonky. So I manipulate it a little bit. I'm going to squeeze it on that side. I'll squeeze it on this side. I'll squeeze it that way a little bit more. Try and make as rounded a bead as you can so that when the necklace is complete, all you'll see here is a round gold bead. Slide all my beads back down to cover up this tail. Come on, cover up the tail. And that makes it even more secure because that tail, I didn't cut it off. I left it there to secure the beads even more. Okay, so I'm rolling all my beads down to the end. That's the end I've already crimped. This is the end I still need to crimp. And now I'll cut my wire off my spool, leaving myself 3 inches or so of excess so that I have a little bit to work with. Okay, put on, just like the other end, put on a crimp bead, put on an AccuGuard, okay, now the challenge is to make sure you don't have any gap, like that gap right there. So what I do is I take the tail, I run it back down through all of my beads, and pull it out the other side. And I'll slide those down till I'm at a fairly tight. You don't want it so tight that your beads buckle up. You want a little bit of play in it. And I find to get a little bit of play, I just make sure my strand is curved. And that will give me just a little bit of play. Okay, and then once I've got this tight, still got my tail sticking out there. It's all right. Now I'm going to crimp this bead on the very end. With my crimping pliers, first in that second notch to make the smile. And then in my first notch nearest the tip, to crush it back into a round shape, a small round shape. I make sure it's secure, and it is lovely. And then I put on a crimp cover, just to disguise it a little bit. It's prettier that way. Get that seated into position. Use my pliers to gently massage that shut in such a way that it just looks like a round bead and it's not hiding the evil crimp inside. Ta-da! And then, with my nice little nippers, I will cut off that tail. Ta-da! So now all we have to do is add this little bit of chain, and we're going to add just one little drop bead just for the pretty sake of it. So we've got our strand all made. Let's finish up the little bits and bobs. Easy enough to take a jump ring. Of course, twist it open, add your chain, put it over the AccuGuard, and twist it shut. On the other end, we want our clasp. So jump ring, clasp, Put it over the AccuGuard and twist it shut. Oh, now that's a necklace. We are done. But let's make it a little bit fancier than that. Let's add one more amethyst. Okay, so just another faceted amethyst in a smaller size. And I'm going to put that on a head pin and then make a simple loop. Just by taking that amethyst on its head pin, making a 90-degree bend, trim off most of that wire. I've done this so many times, I know how long I want it, so I'm going to trim off that much, leaving me, is that 8 millimeters, something like that. Trim that off, being careful not to let that wire fly and hit anybody. Grab my round nose pliers and make a loop. Reposition my pliers one more time and finish the loop. There we go. And then one more jump ring. And put it on the end to make that final little pretty. So when you're wearing that low back dress with your hair up, you've got that pretty little dangle on the back. Is that sexy or what? Add to that some earrings. Here we have some nice asymmetrical, very trendy earrings to go with the beautiful amethyst necklace. Thanks for joining us. I hope you make this project and enjoy making lots more like it. Get all the materials and supplies at firemountaingems.com.